Oh boy. I feel like our culture has a tendency to not talk about fear. At the same time, I feel like our culture creates fear in every way that it can. Right now, on the eve of January 21st, 2012, there's a lot of fear in the air, and as cliche as it is to say, really, the only thing to fear is fear itself. I'm an engineering student in my senior year, and there are so many options open to humanity. I moved to speak in particular because of the Iran, Iraq, Israel, Islam against the West crisis that is being engineered and sold to us, and has been for the past 12 years, 11 years, and a lot longer than that. There have been stories ever since Islam became a religion. The story has been woven of Islam against the West, even though written into its scripture, hard-coded into its into its existence, is respect and love for other followers of the book. I forget the exact term, but Christians and Jews, and yet we find ourselves on this collision path. Both Christianity and Islam claim that Jesus Christ will return on the day of judgment to fight by their side. Clearly, to me, that says that he's fighting on the same side, that they're fighting on the same side. And since when did Jesus ever fight any sort of war, except through love and compassion? When I read the Bible, the messages in it are so clear and so peaceful and so right for the world that we have today. They talk about not worshiping money and living a simple life. And the truth is that it's up to us to choose our fate. It's not decided. If it is, we can't know. If this story is written, then we can't read it. All we can do is do the best by our children. And that hasn't been done. When we burn fossil fuels, I believe that there's a climate change effect that occurs. But regardless of if there is or not, that oil is a finite supply in the ground. As we burn it, we steal it from our children. We steal their future, especially by focusing on it when we can see the trouble coming. I think that the military-industrial complex is using this fear of scarcity to sell another war. And I think it's in none of our best interest. My fear about the apocalypse, about 2012, is all the fear that is being spread about it. Fear of the fiscal crisis and fear of Iranian nuclear programs and all of these things that are imaginary. Iran is not going to nuke someone. Iran is not going to do any sort of instigatory action when it comes to missiles and war. Israel might. And they believe, I think, that they must. And they live in a place of hate. And a lot of people have responsibility that they're not owning up to about that situation. But it falls on all of us no matter what responsibility we have or feel we have, regardless, to safeguard the future of our children. I think it's important that we speak our fears. I don't think that the proper response to having a world full of problems is to clam up and carry them. I think that if we speak openly about the problems, we can work them out, because we're smart animals. So, I fear the nitrogen cycle, that we've been pumping extra food, fossil fuel, into the world for the past 50 years, longer than that, since World War II. And I think that it's an amazing thing. It's given our species abundance for the first time since we embarked on civilization, trying to pull more food out of the earth than naturally grows there, inevitably depleting its land base and needing to move on and enslave someone else to maintain our standard of living, or even live at all. For the first time since all that started, agriculture, civilization, for the first time, our entire planet has had nearly 100 years now, 80 years of abundance, 80 years of enough food, enough water for most people, and not for everyone. But abundance breeds cooperation, diversity. You can see this in natural ecology. As life establishes itself, you go through natural succession, things get more complex, more sharing occurs. There isn't one species that takes all the nutrients every year. There's many species that together cooperate better than any single could. That's real competition. It's cooperation. I fear water. The Ogallala Aquifer beneath the central United States is about half empty. We have about 20 years left, and that is what's fueling the corn, that more than the nitrogen, the water is going to run out. And the first wars were for water, and the last war, if it happens, it's going to be for water. But it doesn't have to happen. We have the internet now. Once hierarchy made sense. We needed to build someone up so they could see the big picture and redistribute all of the goods in a more efficient way. I'm not against trade. I think it is more efficient to grow wheat where it grows and trade it for places where coffee or potatoes or whatever you can grow grows. I think it enriches everyone's life, and it connects the world, and it spreads diversity, and makes us all better humans. But we don't need to have big industry to coordinate that anymore. We can do it ourselves. It's in every community's interest, and if the community supports one person to not have to work in the field, or most people to not have to work in the field with all the machines and all the things we have going for us these days. Everyone can work in the field a little bit, because, I don't know, gardening's kind of great, but only if they want to. There's plenty of work, and there's plenty of jobs, plenty of variety for everyone. Everyone works now anyway. What if you owned your work? You'd do a better job of it. We all would. So, let's build that. 5 years of engineering, and I know how. I think a couple months, 5 months of teaching, and I think I can teach you. I'd love to try. Maybe 5 weeks, but I don't think it's that urgent. I don't think it's 3 weeks away. I don't think it's 5 years away. It's hopefully not 500. And it won't be if we make that choice. But it's everyone's individual choice to care and to work and to try, because the people who have the ability to change this have been bought off. There are lessons in history for it. If you look at the French Revolution, you look at the English Revolution. I'm not talking about the Reformation, I'm talking about democracy overcoming autocracy. The English nobles took it onto themselves. They paid higher taxes, they got involved, and it came peacefully. The French nobles got paid off. They sacrificed their feudal duties, and they went to Versailles and they had a big party for a whole generation while Louis XIV did whatever he wanted. And then another king came along and he couldn't keep it together. Another one inherited that and didn't do a great job, and he lost his head. Let's not lose our heads here.